Good morning and welcome to IBIS's Dynamics GP Advice and Tips webinar series. Thank you so much for attending. Today we will be talking about eOne Smartconnect. My name is Abby Moore and I'm a senior consultant at IBIS, and I will be giving the presentation today. So if everyone's ready, we will get started. So what is Smartconnect? Smartconnect is an integration tool that was developed by eOne Business Solutions, which is a third party to Microsoft Dynamics GP. Smartconnect provides a user front end for eConnect. It provides all the functionality users love about Integration Manager, but is 50 times faster and much more robust. In addition, Smartconnect can link to all GP modules. It's been said that it's as easy to use as SmartList and can be used to automate your business process. As you can see on the right, we have kind of the evolution of SmartConnect that eOne came up with as a visual. And it goes from Integration Manager to eConnect and then to SmartConnect. So what are some of the benefits of SmartConnect? It is both user-friendly and cost-effective. It is compatible with a product that more and more companies seem to be using, which is Binary Streams Multi-Entity Management and Salesforce. You can integrate data straight from Excel using the Excel add-in, which comes with the base product. We'll actually see a demonstration of that in a little bit. Automation, data migration. If you are, this is your first initial install of Dynamics GP, it's very easy to migrate data from your old system to the new system. As well as integrations between systems, ongoing integrations, if you need to upload journal entries, all sorts of cool stuff. It is a freestanding product, so it sits outside of Dynamics GP, which means you don't have to use a GP license in order to use SmartConnect. I have a colleague, his name's Mark Polino, he's a principal consultant at IBIS, and he's also a Microsoft MVP, and he is a huge proponent of SmartConnect, and I asked him for a quote, and this is what he had to say. SmartConnect is more powerful than Integration Manager and more user-friendly than Scribe. So what can it do? As you can see, we have a diagram in front of us that basically is saying that SmartConnect can connect any source with any destination, anytime, via any transformation path. So some of the sources we can use are SmartList, Dynamics GP, Dynamics CRM. You can use Excel files, text files, CSV files. There is a Salesforce link that you can pull data from. When can you integrate data? You can integrate it real time. You can schedule it. If there's an upload of a journal entry I need to do every Tuesday at 3 p.m., that's not a problem. You just schedule it, and every Tuesday at 3 p.m. it will run. Obviously, there's the manual option. You can do an external call. You can upload data when a change is made. Pretty much if you need it, it can be done. Some of the transformation aspects that you can do in an integration are entity lookups, which basically is for Binary Streams MEM product. If you need to look up which entity a transaction needs to belong to. You can do calculations. You can do SQL lookups. For example, if you need to see what invoice a cash receipt should be applied to, you can do a lookup in that within the map to figure it out. A date formula, you can do rolling columns that will actually give you the ability to use GP's voucher and invoice numbers. The pre-run validation actually validates the data before it puts it in, and then you have the option to correct it, which we'll see in a little bit in a video. Chain maps, you can program a map to run one after another. So let's say I need to create a vendor and then I need to create a payables transaction for that vendor. No problem. You can chain the maps together. Destination, where can this data end up? It can end up in GP. It can end up in CRM. It can end up as a text file. It can end as Excel or Salesforce. Basically, as you can see, a large majority of the sources can also be the destinations. Integrations made easy. So SmartConnect is the integration tool that makes building and managing all your integrations easy. It takes the coding out of the integration process. SmartConnect is the only integration tool you'll ever need. Whether you want to enter journals or opportunities into Excel templates, import bank files, move data between multiple systems, integrate your CRM with Dynamics GP, or import data from your website, SmartConnect has it covered. As you can see in the box down below, it just has some of the many things that you can integrate to and export from. As you can see, it's very dynamic in what the products can do. What we are here today to talk about specifically is SmartConnect and Dynamics GP, how they benefit from each other, what you can do with SmartConnect in GP. Automation is what makes SmartConnect not just an integration tool, but a tool that fundamentally changes the way you use Dynamics GP. Think carefully about this next statement for a moment. SmartConnect allows you to apply all the business rules of Dynamics GP to create any data in GP based upon any data, which basically is just saying that this is an extremely dynamic product that can do a lot. SmartConnect is a completely configurable tool set that knows how to create just about any record type in Dynamics GP. If there is an eConnect node for it, you can create a SmartConnect integration to upload it. SmartConnect extends the core functionality of eConnect and converts a development tool into a truly powerful end-user tool. And I must say that from an end-user standpoint, it is extremely user-friendly. And it's easy to catch on. Once you figure it out, it's very easy to build all sorts of integrations. We're going to watch a video right now. It's just a quick overview of SmartConnect.
This demonstration is going to give an overview of SmartConnect, and hopefully you will see why it is that so many partners and customers are getting on board with SmartConnect for all of their integration needs. First thing I do is go to the map screen, and I'll grab a predefined map, and in this case we'll look at importing sales order processing documents into Great Plains. I grab my sales order map, and you'll notice here that I'm able to choose my groups, which gives me access to all modules of Great Plains. So I can see all the modules inside of there. When I choose sales order processing, I can choose the node type, which lets me choose to delete orders, order distributions, voiding orders, and the functions inside of there. Selecting sales orders, I can then see below there all of the nodes and all of the things that I can do via SmartConnect when I'm creating a sales order transaction. I can create items, I can create customers, I can add line items. In this scenario, you can see we've just chosen to do two things, and that is to create sales header transactions as well as the sales line transactions themselves. Now we're using Excel as a source of data, and you'll see my data source map up here is looking directly to Excel. If I look at the file itself, I've got a simple Excel file here with the columns in it that I need. I'm able to then map to those columns through the node. So I take a look at the line item map, double clicking there. You can see on the left hand side all of the source columns of data from that spreadsheet, and where they've been mapped across to the right. If I want to map differently, I grab a field from the left and I can drag that across to the right and drop it in. So each of those fields is drag and drop to map back to the source columns. You'll note that the required fields are in red, so all that business logic of Great Plains is included in these maps. The same with the header. If I look at that map as well, and you'll notice I've got this as a grouped set of data, and we're grouping on the SOP number. So that says based upon my source file, if I find the same invoice number, group by that, and that will be how we create a header, as well as the line items for that mapping. With that mapped, I simply then run the process which will run that map for me. And if we run that one through, notice it turns away and it's passing those records from the spreadsheet, converting them into XML format, passing that format to eConnect. eConnect does the processing, and we've brought those transactions through 4 of 4 without any errors. If we take a quick look, just close that one down, inside Great Plains, you'll find that we've got 4 invoices here, invoice 1, 2, 3, 4, which ties back directly with what we had inside the spreadsheet. And I can see my lines there, so for invoice 15001, we've got those records sitting in here, and that came from invoice number 15001. So simply by mapping those back from any data source, I can pull that data straight into Great Plains. One of the great features of Smartconnect is if I was to run that map again, and we selected the same map, and was to say let's run that through again, obviously we'll get duplicate SOP numbers. So we'd expect those records not to be imported, and as you can see there I'm going to get 4 errors. And if we take a look at the error, the description is fairly useful in that it says the duplicate document number exists. If I double click on that, I can see the full message, which is fairly clear as to what the issue was. Then I can use the Smartconnect fix button, and this is a key function for handling errors in the data. So coming to fix, this will give me a look at that whole file and all the records that failed during that last integration. I can then come through and make changes, where I can change the records in line, give them a new SOP number that is appropriate, and then rerun that map directly from this screen. And that gives one of the easiest error handling functions available. So that was a quick overview of Smartconnect. You can see from my list here that I can import into a whole series of functions. And a couple of the features we need to touch on is over on the right, the ability to schedule a map. So that will allow me to just grab a particular one. That will allow me to run a map based upon a predefined schedule. So I can say let's run that every day. We could say let's run that on certain days of the week. We could run it monthly, etc. So that will set that up. Now the beauty of the schedule is that you do not need to be logged into Great Plains to have that schedule run at 2 AM in the morning. You can be off-site with Great Plains closed, and those integrations are still going to run for you in the background. The other key things for Smartconnect here is the ability to run tasks before and after maps, so on success or on failure. I can run a series of tasks, and that will be to copy files, delete files, move files, send emails on success, and all of those things can be mapped and run straight from in here without needing to be a developer to write that code. The company function is also important, where I can run that map for one or multiple entities, which helps with all intercompany requirements. And I've also taken my options, which is determining in this case where I'll particularly save errors, whether I want to write some scripting language for complex integrations in C# or VB.NET. And all of those functions are available. So that's the high level overview to Smartconnect. I guess the last one is really looking at the data source, which is saying where does the data come from? And this is where Smartconnect is extremely powerful, in that we can choose to pull the data from SQL tables, Excel tables, Access tables, Oracle tables, anything with an ODBC data source. We can link directly to that data source and bring that data directly back into Great Plains. So that's giving me live integration between CRM systems, point of sale systems, other ERP systems, Access databases, etc. And Smartconnect becomes your one-stop shop for all integration needs back into Great Plains. Thank you.
So as you can see from the little demo video there's a lot of stuff that you can do with Smartconnect. The gentleman did mention migration and ongoing integration. So for migration, there's really no faster way to convert data from your previous system into Dynamics GP. Smartconnect tends to run 30 to 40 times faster than Integration Manager, which can save you days or even weeks off of your migration time. Smartconnect can pull data from any location and any source. Smartconnect can look right into your previous system to grab the data, look at an Excel or text file output, or take the data via an XML or web service. So whether you're moving from QuickBooks, NetSuite, Sage, or SAP, Smartconnect provides the solution to do that. As for ongoing integrations, integrating data on a regular basis to Smartconnect Dynamics GP has been made hassle-free with Smartconnect while maintaining all the business rules of Dynamics GP. SmartConnect can take any data from any location or source based on a defined schedule and update any record type within Microsoft Dynamics GP with that data. Now, eOne also sells a product called Node Builder, which allows you to build eConnect nodes that do not already exist, and then you can use those with SmartConnect to create integration that can import data into GP. So, for example, there is currently not an eConnect node for EFT information, so you could use Node Builder to build a node for EFT information and then use SmartConnect to integrate that data for vendors or customers. Integration and automation. So SmartConnect is the one-stop integration automation for Dynamics GP. Integration and automation are essential components to every successful ERP implementation. SmartConnect makes integration and automation simple. SmartConnect has a focus on the needs of companies that rely on Dynamics GP as their ER system. In supporting those core customers, SmartConnect has grown to contain connectors that create records within Microsoft Dynamics GP, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Salesforce.com, and direct SQL updates to any other application. SmartConnect provides a drag-and-drop user interface, as we saw in the demo, for configuring the creation of records within any of its destination applications from any data source. SmartConnect is powered by both eConnect, Microsoft CRM Web Services, and the Salesforce API, and has transformed the integration process from being a developer experience to an easy-to-use end-user toolset. SmartConnect supports integration and automation regardless of how you access your software solution, on-premise, hosted, or cloud. So we've talked a little bit about the eConnect node. So eConnect is basically Microsoft's tool for integrating transactions, master records, all sorts of things. And basically eConnect is the engine for SmartConnect. What this means is that SmartConnect is able to create transactions in Microsoft Dynamics GP for any mastered record or transaction for which eConnect nodes exist. As we talked about a couple slides before, there is also Node Builder that eOne sells that you can also purchase and build additional nodes. Now the next couple of slides just have some examples of what type of eConnect nodes currently exist and what you could do within SmartConnect. So for example, for bank reconciliation, you can do deposits, transactions. For field service, you can do service calls. You can create a lockbox. For payroll, you can create benefits, deductions, add employees, put the employees in a class, create a class. For fixed assets, you can create an asset, create a book, create a lease or structures. For general ledger, you can create an account. You can upload journal entry transactions. You can create a fixed allocation account or a variable allocation account. For purchase order processing, you can do intermatch invoices and receivings. For inventory, a couple examples of what you can do are you can create a site, you can create an item, you can assign a price list to the item and a price group to the item. For receivables, you can enter cash receipts and apply them. You can create a customer. You can manage the parent-child relationships. For payables, you can create a vendor, add a vendor address. For project accounting, you can create a contract, a project, update the access list for that project and give users access to it. You can do miscellaneous logs. And for sales order processing, you can create a transaction, add lines to the transaction, you can void a document, and you can also do process holds. Now, eOne does have some available pre-built templates available on their website. Basically what these are their pre-built Excel templates that you can go and download and use and write integrations off of. They have pre-built ones available for such things as fixed assets. So if I need to import an asset, I can go and get this template and use it as my data source in the integration, map the needed fields, and then enter my data into the Excel file, and then I would just go and run the map, and bam, asset is created. Same type of thing for project accounting. As you can see, they have it for contracts and expenses. They have POP transactions, SOP transactions. Now, these are just the available pre-built templates that they have. This is by no means a limit as to what you can actually do with the product. These are just some base ones that they give you to get you started. So straight from Excel to SmartConnect, data can be sent to Dynamics GP straight from within Excel with a push of a button using the SmartConnect Excel add-in. Now this add-in comes with the purchase of all SmartConnect, so it is not an additional cost. And we are going to check out a video of that.
This is a quick demonstration to talk about the Excel add-in for SmartConnect and the associated web services. What this functionality will do is allow me to have data entry directly into Excel or info path, but today we'll look at Excel, and that data updating Dynamics GP directly from the Excel application. Take a look at the first example. Jump out here into Excel where I've got a predefined GL journal entry. As you can see, account number, account description, individual line description, and the amounts for debit and credit, which come through to 5,000. In this case, we've got a store that needs to enter daily takings and update those into the general ledger of Great Plains. You'll notice here on the top of the screen is my Excel add-in to run the SmartConnect map. And what that will do is it will convert the data from Excel into an XML file, feed it through the web service to eConnect, and back again. So the users of this screen do not need to be connected to Great Plains, do not even need to be on the same network. As long as they've got an internet connection with access to the shared web service, they can run these functions directly from Excel. Looking at the second tab here, and that's simply a series of formulas to format that data entry spreadsheet, which can be custom, into the file that is required by the SmartConnect map that we've built. And I've then defined the SmartConnect map that we will called GL import, and we'll take a look at that shortly, and the database in which we want to bring it, which is the 2 database. So that predefined spreadsheet becomes the basis then for my data entry. All I then do is decide to run my SmartConnect map, and running it from this icon, it runs through and does what we just said. So it's converted that data into an XML, fed it through to eConnect, and eConnect does the validated import into Great Plains. So you can see here that in GP now, we should have a new journal with a description called day ending on the 12th of February. For $5,000 and the relevant credits to the right accounts. We flick across to Great Plains, and we should grab the very last transaction that's been entered. You'll notice here we've got a journal entry for shop receipts for the 8th of February 2008 that matches exactly what we had in that list. So let's run the SmartConnect map to create that transaction. Taking a quick look how that was built inside SmartConnect, I'll just grab the general ledger journal import map. And all we've done here is really chosen that we want to create a general ledger transaction and decided we needed to map 2 nodes, the create journal and the create the distribution lines for that map. The data source we're connecting to is an Excel spreadsheet, so we're going an ODBC connection straight to the spreadsheet, and we're selecting everything on that import tab of that spreadsheet. I can validate that data source and it will show me what's sitting inside that spreadsheet. So if I preview, and we'll see the data, so we can get a view that we're looking at the right spreadsheet and we can see the right data that we're going to pull in. We've then just simply mapped, so if I double click on create journal, there's the source columns from the spreadsheet, and I can drag and drop those across to the right. So that's where I've said the batch ID will be, and I drag that across. If I was to drop that down here, you can see that it's a drag and drop function to put those across to the right hand side. And we've done the same function with adding distribution lines. And that's where we've again pulled the account number, the debit, the credit amounts into the right hand side, and that's the mapping for that spreadsheet. And that's the design of the SmartConnect map to pull data directly from Excel through into Dynamics GP. No code required for that integration, and you can do it the same for any spreadsheet into any data. So in this example here, I've got data sitting here that needs to come into a price list. So I've got items, currencies, price levels. And I could change those prices out here in Excel and say, look, this is not 100, we're going to make this 30. And run that same Smart Connect map, and that will go through. Notice the configuration tab again saying let's use the import pricing map inside GP, and it will run through and do that from spreadsheet. So any data where there's an eConnect node and you want to update that from Excel, Smart Connect is the way to do it.
So that was just an example of some of the integrations you can do from within Excel using the Excel add-in. Smart Connect is not just for end users, it's for developers too. They can use it to do some of the tricky stuff. Smart Connect will build integrations without code, but that doesn't stop developers from going to the next level in the automated integration process. Smart Connect can do all the grunt work, and you can do all the clever bits to complete your solution. A couple examples of things that developers can do using Smart Connect. You can write pre and post map scripting tasks to execute alongside the map. You can trigger emails on demand before, after, or during a map. So let's say that I have a scheduled map that runs, every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and when it's successful, I need to send an email to Bob, and when it fails, I need to send an email to Jim. Basically, you can set that up within the system. You can link maps together, which is the chained map functionality we were talking about earlier. You can transform your data on the fly into the format you need. So if I get a file from a vendor that has their vendor ID in it and my vendor ID is a little differently, you can have a transformation table that basically can transfer that ID to the one that you need without having to go into the file and change all of them, just using a translation table, which is the next point, translation tables. You can perform SQL lookups to add to your data before a map runs. So wrapping it all up, basically Smart Connect is a user-friendly tool that can be used while it is both cost and time effective. It's taken data migrations and integrations for Dynamics GP to the next level. And I have been told by E1 that there will be Smart Connect for Dynamics AX coming soon. So thank you all so much for attending today. We appreciate your time. If you have any questions, please send them to the email address on the bottom of your screen, and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you again, and have a fantastic day.